Let's get to this because a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't know it for a while, that you were in service, suffered an injury, lost a leg. But let me get into just how this thing started, because it is unusual, because you had this in your mind and ingrained what you wanted to do for a long time. Did you not? When you were in middle school, high school, take us to the beginning when you wanted to become a soldier, and you wanted to do it with the Marines.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. Well, September 11th happened my senior year of high school, and a lot of us didn't really know what to make of it at the time. That day, my dad was real big on military history and had always, when I was growing up, had discussed all the world conflicts and things like that. And so I understood the implications pretty quickly. And I decided right then and there that I was going to join the Marine Corps. I remember being at football practice later that same day on September 11th, and one of my friends saying, what do y'all think is going to happen? And I said, well, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. We were just attacked on American soil. We're going to war. But, we were kids who had grown up in peacetime, and people thought war was something that happened in the history books, not in our lifetimes. And, people kind of laughed at that. But sure enough, that's what happened.
Then did you have plans earlier to go to college and decided not to go, and you went directly to the Marines?
Yeah, so I at the time on September 11th, I wasn't sure if I would go active duty or reserve or what I would do, but I wanted to join. I did wind up getting delayed in that, and so it was kind of a process getting into the Marine Corps. I went to, get in right after 9/11, was actually turned down because I had a little problem in my ear, and I tried to get that fixed, went to my doctor to get a tube out of my ear, and he looked at it later and said, if I don't put this tube back in your ear, your eardrum's going to rupture. So I had to delay, put that dream aside of joining the Marine Corps. I enrolled in college, went to Mississippi State. And I was doing my freshman year there, and I was watching the news. I was just glued to the news, and watching the invasion of Iraq and seeing the casualties mount. And I was just, started being racked with guilt about it and thinking, why are these men and women over there fighting for our country? And here I am, living a good life in college. So I went back, got the tube pulled out of my ear again, and monitored it very closely. I essentially tricked the Marine Corps into letting me in. As soon as my eardrum had healed and I didn't have an ear infection, I ran and got let in before they could see the problem. So,
how old were you then?
By then I was 18 when all this started. By the time I got in, I was 20, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. There were. It was not only you, but there were a lot of people that were touched by that. They understood. They had that calling at that particular time. I mean, we talk about people from all walks of life. Some, like the NFL, the player from the NFL. So there were people touched by that. It seems so long ago. Wasn't that long ago, as far as 9/11 is concerned?
Yeah, it wasn't, and you're exactly right, Paul. I mean, that's one of the honors of my life, or the honor of my life, is that I got to serve with a lot of those guys that were just true heroes. And like you said, they were touched by all of this. They had their own lives. They had wives and children at home, and they had their own plans for the future, but they dropped all of that to go answer the call. And a lot of my very good friends paid the ultimate sacrifice. And that's what Memorial Day that we're coming into is all about.
You are absolutely right. When you finally made it through boot camp, where did you go to boot camp?
Yeah, I went to Parris Island, South Carolina. I almost got kicked out as soon as I got there because they realized that I still had this problem with my ear. I begged the doctor when I got there to not kick me out, and he said, all right, well, if you show up at sick bay, then you're going home. So I didn't do that. I had to just go through boot camp with pain and not be able to hear my drill instructors or sleep. But I made it, and so I made it through that, and then after boot camp and combat training, wound up back at Mississippi State. I did go into the reserves. So my very first drill at my reserve unit, they pack your bags, boys. We're going to Iraq. So we started gearing up for that deployment. Go ahead.
From the time that you got the word till the time you were actually there on the ground was how long?
Yeah, that was probably 6 months total. We took about 4 months to get ready here in Mississippi, and then 2 months of combat training in California.
But you trained at Camp Shelby?
No, I was in a reserve unit in Jackson at the time. There were a Marine Corps unit at Jackson called 214 Echo Battery, and I was training there. Yep.
When you got over there, Aaron Rice is my guest. Aaron is also the director of Mississippi Justice Institute and finished up as a Lance Corporal.
That's right.
In the Marines.
That's right.
When you got over there, did you think, okay, this is what I expected? Was the training enough to make that a reality that you knew you were there and you were ready for it?
Yeah, we were definitely ready for it, and I felt ready for it. It was just a very tense situation. It was an odd war. You never knew when. You had to stay vigilant, and a lot of the times nothing was happening, but that could change at any moment. Our battalion came into a pretty heavily fought area. We actually wound up being the hardest hit battalion in the entire Iraq war. And as soon as we got there, we were in the Al-Anbar province of Iraq. And as soon as we got there, the insurgency really started bringing it to our battalion. We wound up there were about 500 combat Marines in our battalion, and we wound up having 200 casualties. That was 48 that were and 152 that were wounded in action.
Alan, Aaron, was this prior to they fortified these trucks, these transport vehicles a little bit as the war went on? This was prior to that?
We were transitioning into that. So my platoon, for example, was 4 Humvees. I was driving the 3rd Humvee in the platoon, and we had gotten 1 up-armored Humvee for our platoon. So we put it in the lead vehicle so that hopefully if a bomb was hit or an IED was hit, it would be the lead vehicle. But the rest of them, including my Humvee, had some armored doors that we had put on them. But other than that, it was not an up-armored vehicle at the time.
How many people were killed in the strike that took your leg?
I was the only person that was injured, and that's one of the things that I'm eternally grateful for. Yeah, a lot of my friends, as I mentioned earlier, our platoon was ambushed after I was injured very heavily. There were 16 men in the platoon. There was a car bomber that initiated it, and then a long firefight with heavy machine guns. So 4 of my friends died instantly in that car bomb, and then 5 others were critically wounded in the firefight afterwards. But there was a lot of heroism that day. I mean, one of my friends won the Navy Cross. It's next up to the Medal of Honor. Another friend of mine got the Silver Star. Several other awards that day. I mean, they were just true heroes.
When you look at, I know there are a lot of movies about this and TV series and everything else. Do you watch them? Can you watch those?
I don't particularly enjoy them anymore, Paul. It is funny. Yeah. I used to watch war movies. It's not a big thing. I mean, it's not like I just can't watch them, but there's always a little bit of hesitancy for me, and I typically don't anymore.
I guess the question is is there any one that really is more accurate than the other when you watch it? And I guess if it is, that's the one you don't want to watch.
Yeah, and I don't have one off the top of my head. I can tell you I wasn't in Vietnam, but Full Metal Jacket always seemed pretty true to life to me in some other ways. So.
It is amazing. Always good talking to you, sir. My hat's off to you. We salute you and all the other men and women who've served. And it is an important day on Monday. Aaron, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Paul.